Hi everyone, I'm gonna do a short video showing you guys how to do a very low poly um, human figure model in 3ds Max. So this is a very beginner level video, so I'm assuming still that you are familiar with the 3ds Max interface and are familiar with some of the basic commands of 3ds Max. You don't need to have detailed knowledge, but at least you are familiar with the move, rotate, and scale command, which is W, E, and R on the keyboard shortcut. And we will use some reference images. But even if you don't have prior knowledge, you can still follow along this tutorial. So we will be using a symmetry modifier in 3ds Max to do this tutorial. So before we start, we will also use two reference images. The reference images are also provided as part of this video, so you can download them and use them. So let's get started. So I'm gonna use the front view and then create a plane. So I'm gonna go to the create menu and select plane and then create a plane object. And then I'll duplicate this plane by there are multiple ways to do this. So I'll rotate this 90 degree. And you can see here in the top viewport, I'm gonna bend this and then rotate this 90 degree by pressing shift and rotating. Bear with me because this I'm using a virtual machine to do this, so there might be some lag on on my machine. So bear with me. So to duplicate this, go in the take the rotate command, and we will use the top view so we can see we're rotating 90 degree. So press shift and then rotate it um, approximately. Just rotate it a little bit, so and it's gonna give you this option. Okay, so we will create a copy, so that's okay. And to make sure it's 90 degree, right now it's 63 degrees. So we'll go in this box here, and along z-axis we'll make it 90 degree. So you can see now we have two planes. Um, the um, in this Explorer window here, you can see the plane one and plane two. Okay, so plane one is our front view, and plane two is our right view. So we'll use these as to use our reference images. So select plane one and go to the material editor, which is here. You can the shortcut key is also shown here, which is M. So you can open the material editor. Material editor has two modes. We'll use the compact material mode. Okay, so make sure you compact is selected, and then select the first material, and we'll go to this basic parameters base color, and here you can see if you hover the mouse it says click to pick a map. So click here and then look for bitmap. Okay, you can also type in here. So once the double click on the bitmap and then select the front image and then hit open, and you will see like the image is displayed here. What we need to do is like make sure the front plane is selected and then apply assign material. Okay? So once you do that, make sure you select this and trim this a little bit and make sure this is selected. Okay. So and then assign material. So make sure this is also show shaded material in viewport is it's selected. Okay, otherwise it's not going to show you in the material in the viewport. So once you do that, you can see the images here. And next we'll go to the right view and the other plane, the plane number 2. Just make sure this one is selected, and then we'll go to the second material and again go to this base color, pick a map option and look for bitmap. Double click on bitmap, select the right reference image, and then assign, and make sure this option is also selected. Now we don't need the materiality, so you can close it, and you can see like if you go to the front view, you can see the reference images there, and the right view is also showing. We need to fix a scale a little bit on these, so you can see it's very broad here on the right view. So what we do is like we take the scale uh, option, the scale tool, and we'll scale it only along the y-axis. So make sure when you hover the mouse, bring it only on the y-axis, okay, and then bring this in a little bit. This looks fine, and then go to the front view and select this, and this one we'll scale it out a little bit because this is too thin in the viewport. So just scale it out along the x-axis. So hover the mouse and then just scale it out. Okay, so it's appropriately um, proportioned with the right view. So the reference scales we are using are not like scaled or anything, so that's why we are doing this. And these reference images are only for reference, and we're not making a very detailed model here. It's a very beginner level tutorial, so we just practicing the tools, and we want to make sure the model we create is technically correct. Okay, so now we can basically name these planes. So the first one, you can right click and uh, right click and then go to rename and then name it front. Okay, and the second one, since it's the right plane, reference plane, so we can right. And now we want to freeze these, so we don't want to select we don't want to select these accidentally. So what we do is like you can freeze these guys, but you will notice like once you freeze they become gray. So to take care of that problem, you need to right click and go to the properties and make sure uncheck these. Okay, when you do that, you'll see like you can still freeze them and still see them at the same time. To do that with the second one also, so go to the properties and uncheck this. Okay. So once we do that, now even if you select these, you won't be able to select them. So the reason we are freezing them is just to so they stay there, but we cannot select them. One more thing, before we freeze them, I want right now these reference images are exactly at the center. So we want to create the model at the center. So we want to move these reference images a little away from the center so that we can use the model. So you can see here, so unfreeze them for temporarily and make sure you have the move tool and then select the, the first one and move it away from the center. You can also take a look at the top view and then make sure you move it away only in the y direction. So just bring it back a little bit. Maybe here is fine. And then the select the right um, reference plane and then move this away in the x direction only. Okay. So now our reference images are away from the center. Okay. So they're not going to interfere with the model, and now we can freeze them. So once we do that, now we can start working on the model. So the way we start is we'll use this box tool, and then we'll start with the torso, and then take all use the limbs and the create the limbs and the arm and the legs and the head. Okay, so let's create the cube by roughly drawing the shape of, and we only draw the half of the body. The rest half will be drawn by the symmetry tool. So once we click and drag, you can see the front is now created, but the thickness of the box you can see in these two planes, it's still like a the tool wants us to provide the thickness. So what we'll do is like we'll just eyeball this here and then just move the mouse and just drop it somewhere where we think is appropriate. Once you do that, you can see the cube is now there. So if we switch to the right, you can see that's how it looks from the right, and you can see from the front also. So front is okay, but the right is like out of the proportion. So what we do is like switch to the move tool and then bring it back in the right view to align with the body. And now we will switch to the scale tool, which is R. You can press R and you'll see the. So these are the three tools which we will use most on this model. So which is select and move, which is W, rotate is E, and then scaling is R. Okay, shortcut keys are. So we'll scale this along the Y direction. So bring this in, and W to move the whole thing in the center, and then again R. So I'll be doing back and forth between these tools. So just be comfortable. And one more thing we want to do on this is like we want to make this object see-through. To do that, we'll go to the display section and make sure the see-through is on, so you can also see through the cube. So now go back to the front view, and this is okay. Now we'll go to the modifier tab and make this box editable poly by right clicking on it and then making it editable poly, and you go to the edge selection mode and create the uh, selection box here and select this top edge and bottom edge. Once you do the selection like this, um, just to be mindful that when we do, so you can see it not only selected the front edges but also the back edges, which is fine. This is exactly what we want in this case. Okay, so be mindful of that. And what we'll do is like we will create one edge this way and then two edges in this direction. So before we create this one, let's do the edge in this direction first. Okay, so select these two, and again to rotate is press the Alt and middle mouse key. Okay, so you can rotate around the object. This helps to see what's going on. Okay, so once you select these edges, we can go down here in the connect dialog box, click on this, and in this first box make this option 2, so you have two edges. The rest of it is fine, just click OK. Okay, so now we have these two extra edges between these edges. Okay, so now we will start like adjusting these by going to the move by pressing W, and vertex selection mode, maybe it's easier, and these vertices up a little bit. So what I'm trying to do is like position these vertices so we can extrude the arm from here, and these two up a little bit, and still also here, and this is fine. So now we'll go to the right view, and again to pan around, just a middle mouse, press the middle mouse and then drag. Okay? So select these vertices, bring them out a little bit of the chest, and notice one thing, like I'm only moving them in a particular axis. Okay, so in this case I'm moving them along in x-axis, so they are in alignment. These axes, these vertices are exactly straight. So if you move them in any other way, you might have a hard time controlling them. So make sure when you select them, only move them along the x-axis or any particular axis you are moving them. Just make sure um, if you move them along two axes, you might have a hard time controlling. So once your basic model is in place, we can do modification later on. Okay? But just following the alignment of the reference images to give this a shape. This one, bring it here. Okay. So these guys, I'm gonna select both of them and then bring them up a little bit. Okay. So we can have the shape properly. Yeah. So it's here, and now I'll switch between the polygon selection mode, and then I'll select this. Actually, I want to select the bottom polygon. So just rotate this and make sure that you're selecting the bottom polygon. Go back to the right view and make sure you select the y-axis gets highlighted, and then shift drag left shift left click and drag up to create this vertex. Okay, so and then go to the right view. So this is fine. And before we proceed any further, I want to delete these faces. So select this, and then with 3ds Max, the way you multiple select is you press Control and then left click. Okay? So Control left click and then delete. So your middle faces are deleted. And the reason I'm doing this is when we apply the symmetry modifier, we don't want any middle faces. So otherwise it will give us some problems. So once you do that, you'll see we have this shape, and now we can apply the symmetry modifier. And the way you do that is you select the top uh, option here, which is editable poly, and then go to the modifier and look for symmetry modifier. You can also type in SY, and it will take you to the symmetry modifier, and then just select this and unselect the Z axis and select the X axis option. Okay, so trying to mirror this, but then it's mirroring it along here, so you don't see it. So we need to fix that. And the reason and the way we fix that is like you maximize the symmetry modifier, select the mirror modifier, and then take the this arrow here. Okay, and you can see there is a gap between the two. And the way we will fill this is by increasing our welding threshold. So make sure like you increase this number to 2 or something like that, and then hit enter, and you see like this is gonna weld the middle vertices, which is okay, which is what we need here. Okay, and now we can go back to the our editable poly. We can go back to the polygon selection mode. Once you do that, you'll see like this one is gets hidden. To see this modifier, make sure like show end result is on here. Okay, once you do that, you can You can see the modifier is still there. It's up to you if you want to see it or don't see it. Okay, and you can also hide from here. Okay? So sometimes it's easier. So let's hide this. Keep the modifier here. So we'll from time to time we'll be checking if the modifier is behaving as it is supposed to behave. But you can keep it here and turn it on and off. Okay. And you can maximize this window also by pressing Alt W. And if you press Alt W again, you can go back to the four screen viewport. So sometimes it makes it easier to make the big screen. You can do that. So now let's go to the right view, and we'll use this to extrude out the arm. So but the way I'm gonna do that is like select this one and then go to the inset and play around with this number here. See which one makes more sense. Let's do 2. So 2 looks okay to me, and so I'm gonna this and then go to the front and then select this one x-axis and then press the shift. Before you click anything, if you hover the mouse, it will show you these options. Okay, so if you want to move it along the y-axis, the y-axis gets highlighted. If you want to move it in the xy plane, that's highlighted. If you want to move it along x-axis, make sure the x-axis is highlighted, and then press shift, and then left click and drag this out. Okay? So once you do that, you will see the arm is out, and it doesn't came out the way I wanted it to be. So, but this is okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the vertex selection and select these vertices. Do Control Z and then click outside anywhere, and then maybe zoom in a little bit, and then box select these vertices, and then I'm gonna just move them in this direction here maybe. Okay, and then box select these vertices, then move them out here this direction. Again, I'm gonna move these a little bit out. Okay, and edge selection, then a box select this edge. Actually, go back to the vertex selection, and then I'm gonna select these vertices, take them out a little bit, and then box select these, and then bring them down. Okay, so now go back to the polygon selection and also make sure take a look at the top view from the top view just to make sure. So you can see from the top view this is too broad. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the scale and then scale it down in the y direction. Okay, we don't have a reference image from the top, so which is fine. We don't need it for this example. So we'll just eyeball things and make sure if they look a little appropriate. Okay, and then now we're gonna go back to the move tool, and before we go to the move tool, let's rotate this also by pressing E, and then rotate this so it's in alignment with the uh, reference image, and then go back and then just move this out a little bit up to this point here, and then press R to scale this. Okay, and let's go to the right view. it just looks okay. And then top view, maybe just scale it down in the y direction. So now I'm gonna go back to the front view, and let's W, shift, and then left click and drag all the way up to here. Okay. And then press R to scale this down in the XY plane. It was in all three directions, so which is fine. And then anytime you don't see your model, like when you switch the viewport, you can also click on here, zoom, extend selected. So this option here is going to bring it back in the viewport. Okay, so now we'll scale it down in the Y direction. Okay, it's a very low poly model, which is just introducing you to the symmetry, introduction to a symmetry modifier. Go back to the move, and then shift, click and drag to extend the arm. Okay. So once you have that, you can go back to the scale option and then scale it down, and then go back to the top view. You can click here and then scale this down, which is fine. We're not gonna create the thumb and other fingers and all that, so don't worry about it right now. And you can fix some of the vertices here by moving them around by pressing W, and then okay, switch to the front view, and we will work on uh, the head. Okay, so to create the head, we need one edge, which to so that we can extrude the neck and the head. So to do before we do that, let's switch to the edge selection, and we'll click somewhere to unselect if anything was selected, and then we will box select in this direction to make sure like these edges are selected, and we'll go to the connect, and this time we'll only create one edge in the center, which is you click one and then click in any other, it's going to show you, and then hit OK. Okay, so once you do that, we can extrude out the neck by going to the polygon selection and then rotating this a little bit. Make sure this one is selected. Go back to the front, and then shift and extrude out. Okay, and then we'll do again shift and extrude out. So so this is fine. So switch to the right view. So you can see it's okay, but then it's a little away. So what we'll do is like move this in place by going to the vertex selection mode and then box selecting the vertices and moving them in the x direction. For the to control the neck, I need one extra edge between this edge and this edge. So the way I'll do this is like go to the edge selection and then box select in this direction to select these edges and then go to the connect. One edge is fine, so I'm gonna do this. Okay. So this way I can control the edge for the I can control the neck part of the model. So now we will basically need some more edges to control the shape of the face. So the way we'll do that is like gonna box select this and then the connect and one edge in this direction and then I'm gonna box select these, go to connect and add two edges in this direction. So once I have that, I can switch to the right view and start moving these vertices around. First, I'll select this one, put this in a little bit, this guy, these ones, and then move these out. This one, that's fine. So this one is for the neck, and then I need to bring this in a little bit, and this one, bring it out and maybe down a little bit. Okay. So this is the first time I'm moving it away from the alignment, which is okay in this case, but it will make your life easier if you keep them aligned. So this out a little bit, and this one, and again bring it out. So we have shape, um, some shape which is kind of head shape. Okay. Make sure like when you select, sometimes the tool doesn't behave. So and then now I need one edge in this direction also. So what I'll do is like going back to the edge selection mode and then box select these edges. Okay. So I have this one, this one, and this one, and then go to the connect, and this time I'm only gonna add one edge. Okay. And to move this edge, I need to switch to the front view. I can select it here. Oh no, it's also moving this one, so which I don't want. So Control Z and then move it in this direction. You can see like it's selecting both the front and the back. So just only select these ones by, I think we have to manually do that by selecting this and then Control select this one. this one, and then going to the front view. And then moving out this. And before we move any further, you'll notice like we deleted the faces here, but now this one, when we extruded the head, it created these faces. So we need to delete these also by selecting these faces and then just hitting delete. Yeah. So you can rotate this around. See, like not very realistic looking, but still we have a shape. And then now we select this. We go back to the edge selection or maybe vertex selection, and then select this top vertex here. Go to the front. Actually, not this one, but this, and control select this both of them, and then bring them up a little bit. Okay. So now if we turn on the symmetry modifier, you can see whatever we are doing on this side is getting basically duplicated on the other side, which makes the modeling time, which reduces the modeling time a lot. So this helps. And now we can start like manipulating these vertices to give it a better shape. You can select these vertices, bring them in a little bit, yeah, and then same thing here. Select these vertices, bring them out a little bit. Okay, rotate this. Only one selection. The arm is maybe too thin, so I'm going to select this and then go to the scaling mode and make sure scale it in this direction only, just to make it more appropriate. Okay. So now we will extrude out the leg. So I'll select these. This one, and control select this one. Make sure you're in the press the W, so you're in the move tool. Then go to the front view. And then press shift to the Y direction and bring it all the way up to the knees. Okay, maybe here. And then also move them away in the X direction. I think I lost the selection, so I'm gonna just go back, rotate this a little bit, and then select the control and select these, and then go back to the front view and move them away also. Okay, and change it to the scaling, and then also scale them down. Switch to the right view, scale them down this direction. Okay, switch to the move tool, shift drag to the calves here. Okay, and then switch to the scaling by pressing R, scale them out in this direction, go to the front view, press W, out a little bit like this, and then shift drag them this direction, okay, and then with R to scale them a little bit like this, go to the right view, and then scale them X direction, maybe fix some of these vertices by switching to the vertex mode, and then move tool W, and then selecting these, and then selecting these guys, bringing them in. Now we will go back to the polygon selection, and it's already selected, so we're just gonna shift and drag, okay, and then bring it down here, and then rotate this a little bit, and this time we'll select this polygon and control select the other polygon, and then go back to the right view, and then shift, left click, and drag it out. Now we go to the vertex selection and select some of these vertices. Okay, so now let's look at this. So when you rotate this, it gives you the model. Basically, the head, we can fix it a little bit by switching to the edge selection, and maybe select these edges here, zoom in a little bit so you can see them, and then control select this one and this one, and then go to the right view, and bring them in this direction, okay, and then we'll do the same thing with these. So click on this one, and then control select this one, and move that in a little bit, just only in the X tab. Okay, so now if we rotate this, you see it's better. We can spend more time on this, but the intent is not to create a very detailed model here, but just something to give you an idea how to create a model, and the 3ds Max, which is using also Symmetry modifier. So to get out of the tool, just click on it again, and then you'll see now we are out of the tool, and select this, go back to the display area and uncheck the see-through, so you can see the whole thing. Now we can hide the reference images, and you can see. So this is our low poly, very low poly, with the bare minimum details, showing you the process of how to create this kind of a model in 3ds Max. So with that, I'm going to stop here. Just wanted to keep this video short, and also something which you can use. Now you can save the file, and then we'll continue in the next video on some of the more detailed model, how you can create more detailed models. Thank you very much for watching this, and I'll see you in the next video.